Nothing says loving husband like footing the bill for a family vacation you're not invited to. That's the thought running through my head as I stand in Terminal D at Miami International, watching my wife Fina scroll through her phone with the intensity of a day trader during market crash. My name is Rellin, and I'm 41 years old with the kind of job that makes people's eyes glaze over at parties, structural inspector for commercial buildings. I spend my days crawling through concrete foundations and steel frameworks, making sure other people's dreams don't collapse. The irony isn't lost on me that I couldn't spot the cracks in my own marriage until they split wide open. Hayes, we need to talk, Fina says, not looking up from her screen. She's 36, with the kind of polished appearance that comes from working in social media PR. Every strand of her auburn hair is perfectly placed, her makeup flawless despite the early morning flight. She looks like she's about to deliver a presentation to clients, not have a conversation with her husband. Sure thing, I reply, adjusting the strap of my carry-on. What's on your mind? The boarding area around us buzzes with typical airport energy. Families juggling luggage and cranky children, business travelers typing furiously on laptops, couples arguing about gate changes, normal people doing normal things. I wonder if any of them can sense the tension radiating from my wife like heat from asphalt in August. Fina finally looks up, and I catch something in her expression that makes my stomach tighten. It's the same look she gets when she's about to fire an underperforming employee, professional distance mixed with barely concealed annoyance. Dad made some last-minute changes to the seating arrangements, she begins, her voice taking on that careful tone she uses when she's about to deliver bad news to clients. He invited Max to join us instead. Max Dalton. The name hits me like a steel beam to the chest. Fina's high school ex-boyfriend, the golden boy who drives a Porsche and owns some vague tech startup that seems to generate more hype than actual revenue. The guy who her father Leo has always preferred over me, despite the fact that I'm the one who's been paying for family dinners and vacations for the past 8 years. Instead of what? I ask, though I already know the answer. Instead of you. She says it like she's discussing a restaurant reservation change. Dad thinks it would be better if you stayed home this time. You know how you and he sometimes clash, and Max has been going through a tough time with his business. Dad thought the trip might help him network with some contacts in Spain. I stare at her, waiting for the punchline or the smile that would indicate this is some kind of elaborate joke. Neither comes. Around us, the gate agent announces pre-boarding for first-class passengers. Let me get this straight, I say, keeping my voice level. Your father wants to uninvite me from a vacation that I paid for so he can invite your ex-boyfriend instead? It's not like that, Fina says, but her tone lacks conviction. It's just business and family, you understand? Business and family. I repeat the words slowly, tasting their bitter flavor. Right. And where exactly do I fit into that equation? She sighs, the kind of exaggerated exhale she usually reserves for dealing with difficult clients. Hayes, please don't make this harder than it needs to be. The tickets are non-refundable, the hotel is already booked, and everyone's expecting... Everyone's expecting what? For me to just roll over and accept being replaced by your ex? You're being dramatic. Fina glances around nervously, probably worried about causing a scene. Image management is everything in her world. It's just one vacation. We'll plan something together later, just the two of us. The boarding announcement continues, calling for passengers with young children and those needing assistance. I watch a family of 4 shuffle toward the gate, the parents juggling car seats and diaper bags while their toddler throws a tantrum about leaving his toy airplane behind. Even they look more united than my wife and I do right now. Where's Max now? I ask. He's already through security. Dad's treating him to the business lounge. She checks her phone again. Actually, I should probably head over there soon. The flight board's in 20 minutes. Of course he is. I can picture it perfectly. Leo Costas, Fina's father, holding court in the premium lounge while Max nods appreciatively at whatever wisdom is being dispensed. Leo owns a chain of luxury car dealerships and has never let anyone forget it. He's the kind of man who measures worth in dollar signs and social connections, and I've never quite measured up in either category. Hayes, look, I know this is awkward, but… Awkward? I interrupt. Fina, awkward is forgetting to introduce someone at a party. This is humiliation. She finally puts her phone down and looks directly at me. It doesn't have to be. You could use the time to catch up on work, maybe tackle some of those projects around the house you've been putting off. Think of it as a break. A break. From my own family vacation that I paid for. The pieces start clicking together in my mind like tumblers in a lock. The secretive phone calls over the past few weeks. The way she's been distant, distracted. The credit card alerts I've been getting for charges at restaurants I've never been to. The way Leo and her mother Celeste have been avoiding eye contact during recent family dinners. How long has this been planned? I ask. What do you mean? The switch. Max coming instead of me. How long have you known? Fina's hesitation tells me everything I need to know. Dad only mentioned it a few days ago. A few days. I nod slowly. And you didn't think to discuss it with me until now? 20 minutes before boarding? I didn't want to upset you unnecessarily. I thought maybe you'd see it as an opportunity. An opportunity for what, exactly? She picks up her phone again, checking the time. Look, we really don't have time for this right now. The boarding is about to start, and I still need to get through security. You still need to get through security? What about me? Fina reaches into her purse and pulls out a boarding pass folder. Here's your ticket. You can use it for a future trip, or maybe get a credit with the airline. I take the folder with numb fingers. My name is printed clearly on the boarding pass, Hayes Rellin, seat 14A. The ticket I paid for the vacation I planned to celebrate her mother's birthday. This is really happening, I say, more to myself than to her. Hayes, please try to understand. This isn't personal. Not personal? I laugh, and it comes out harsher than I intended. My wife is choosing to vacation with her ex-boyfriend instead of her husband, using money I earned, and it's not personal? You're twisting this around. Max is just a friend now, and Dad's trying to help him with his business. It's networking. Right, networking. I look down at the boarding pass in my hands. And what am I supposed to tell people when they ask where you are? That my wife is in Spain networking with her ex? Tell them whatever you want. Her voice is getting sharper now, the professional veneer starting to crack. Or don't tell them anything. It's nobody's business. The gate agent calls for general boarding, and passengers start forming lines according to their boarding groups. I watch them shuffle forward with their luggage and their excitement about upcoming adventures. Normal couples traveling together, normal families starting normal vacations. I should go, Fina says, slinging her designer handbag over her shoulder. The line's getting long. Yeah, I say quietly. You should go. She hesitates for a moment, and I wonder if she's having second thoughts, if maybe she's realizing how completely insane this situation is. But then she leans forward and gives me a quick, perfunctory kiss on the cheek, the kind of kiss you'd give a distant relative at a funeral. I'll call you when we land, she says. Sure you will. She starts walking toward the security checkpoint, her heels clicking confidently on the terminal floor. I watch her go, noting how she doesn't look back. Not once. I stand there for a long moment, holding the boarding pass and watching other passengers disappear through the jet bridge. The gate area gradually empties until it's just me and a few airline employees cleaning up discarded newspapers and coffee cups. Then I pull out my phone and open my banking app. The banking app loads with its familiar blue interface and neat rows of account balances. Checking, savings, credit cards, investment accounts, all the financial architecture of our shared life displayed in tidy columns. 8 years of marriage reduced to numbers on a screen. I start with the travel credit cards. The first one is our joint Chase Sapphire Reserve, the one we use for all vacation expenses because of the travel insurance and reward points. Current balance, $8,142.18, mostly charges from the past month. Hotel deposits in Barcelona, car rental reservations, restaurant prepayments that Leo insisted on making to secure the best tables. I tap the account management option and select Temporarily Freeze Card. The app asks me to confirm. I confirm. Next is the American Express Gold Card, primarily used for international transactions because of the favorable exchange rates. Balance, $3,156.33. I freeze that one too. The Citi Premier Card, our backup travel card, frozen. The Bank of America Cash Rewards card that we keep for emergencies, frozen. Each tap of my finger feels like pulling a pin from a grenade. I screenshot each confirmation screen, noting the timestamps. 7:42 a.m., 7:43 a.m., 7:43 a.m., 7:44 a.m. Evidence for later. Now for the hotel reservations. I switch to the Hilton app and pull up our booking at the Barcelona Grand Marina Hotel. 5 nights, 3 adjoining suites, with a total cost of $4,200 charged to my credit card. The reservation is under my name, with my Hilton Honors number attached for the points. I tap Modify Reservation and then Cancel Reservation. The app warns me about cancellation fees, but since we're still more than 24 hours out, the penalty is minimal. I confirm the cancellation and screenshot the confirmation number. The car rental is next. Enterprise Rent a Car, a luxury SUV reserved for airport pickup in Barcelona. 7 days, $890 total, charged to my Amex. I log into their app and cancel that reservation too. My phone buzzes with a text message. It's from Jude, my best friend and the only person who knows how bad things have gotten at home. How's the airport? You guys boarding yet? I type back. Change of plans. Flying solo today. What happened? Long story. I'll call you later. I put the phone back in my pocket and continue my systematic financial dismantling. The restaurant reservations are harder to track down since Leo made most of them, but I remember seeing charges on our statements for deposit payments. I start calling the restaurants directly, explaining in my basic Spanish that there's been a family emergency and we need to cancel our reservations. Most are understanding, especially when I mention that we're willing to forfeit the deposits rather than reschedule. By the time I finish, my phone shows 37 missed calls and 23 text messages, all from Fina. I don't read them. Not yet. I walk through the terminal toward the parking garage, my footsteps echoing in the early morning quiet. The sun is just starting to rise over Miami, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink that would be beautiful under different circumstances. Instead, they remind me of warning colors, the bright hues that nature uses to signal danger. The drive home takes 45 minutes in morning traffic. Our house sits in a quiet suburban neighborhood in Coral Gables, a modest 3-bedroom that we bought 5 years ago when Fina's PR business started taking off. It's nothing fancy compared to Leo's mansion in Pinecrest, but it's ours, or at least it was. I pull into the driveway and sit in the car for a moment, looking at the house. The lawn needs mowing. The mailbox is slightly crooked from where the garbage truck clipped it last month. The front door could use a fresh coat of paint. All the little maintenance tasks that Fina mentioned I could work on during my unexpected break. Inside, the house feels different, emptier, even though nothing has physically changed. Fina's coffee cup still sits in the sink from yesterday morning. Her magazine is still open on the kitchen counter to an article about maximizing your social media ROI. The throw pillows on the couch are still arranged in the precise pattern she prefers. I make myself a cup of coffee and sit down at the kitchen table with my laptop. Time for phase 2. The first email I compose is to Leo Costas. I keep it brief and professional. Leo, I hope you're enjoying the business lounge. I wanted to let you know that I've had to cancel the hotel reservations and car rental for the Barcelona trip due to some unexpected financial constraints. I've attached the payment history for your reference, showing all charges made to my personal accounts over the past month related to this vacation. I'm sure you'll be able to make alternative arrangements. Max seems like a resourceful guy. Best regards, Hayes. I attach screenshots of every payment, every reservation, every deposit. The total comes to $12,847.63, not including the airfare which was purchased separately. I copy Fina, her mother Celeste, and for good measure, Fina's younger sister Rebecca, who wasn't even coming on the trip but loves family drama. Send. My phone immediately starts ringing. Fina's number. I decline the call and watch as it goes to voicemail. 30 seconds later, it rings again. Decline. Again. Decline. The texts are coming in rapid fire now. Hayes, what did you do? The hotel says our reservation is canceled. Dad is furious. You need to fix this right now. This is insane. Call me back immediately. I can't believe you would sabotage us like this. Max had to pay for everything with his card. Dad says you're being petty and childish. How could you do this to my family? I read through them all, noting the progression from confusion to anger to desperation. What's interesting is what's not mentioned. Any acknowledgement that maybe, just maybe, leaving your husband behind on a vacation he paid for might have been the real problem here. I compose a single response. Enjoy networking with Max. Try not to let him stick you with the bill. Then I block her number. The house phone starts ringing 20 minutes later. I don't answer it. Then my work phone. I turn that off entirely. Around noon, I get a call from an unknown international number. I answer it out of curiosity. Hayes? It's Leo's voice, tight with controlled fury. What the hell do you think you're doing? Hello, Leo. How's Barcelona? Don't play games with me, boy. You've put my family in an impossible situation. Boy. He's never called me that before, but I suppose the mask is finally coming off. I've put your family in a situation? I ask. That's interesting. Here I thought you were the one who decided to replace me with my wife's ex-boyfriend. Max is a family friend. This trip is important for his business development. And what about my business development? Or my marriage development? How does that factor into your planning? Your marriage is between you and Fina. This trip is about family. Exactly my point, Leo. I am family. Or I thought I was. There's a pause, and I can hear voices in the background. Spanish voices, probably hotel staff. Look, Leo says, his tone shifting slightly. We can work this out when we get back. But right now, you need to reinstate those reservations. My wife is sitting in an airport terminal with her luggage, and the hotel is telling us they're fully booked. That's unfortunate. Hayes, I'm warning you. You're warning me? I interrupt. Leo, let me explain something to you. I'm a structural inspector. I spend my days looking at buildings and determining whether they're safe for people to occupy. And right now, I'm looking at the structure of my marriage, and I've determined that it's unsound, dangerously unsound. What are you talking about? I'm talking about load-bearing walls, Leo. In construction, those are the walls that hold up the entire building. Remove them without proper planning, and everything collapses. You just removed a load-bearing wall. You're being ridiculous. Am I? Let me ask you something. Who's been paying for Fina's car insurance for the past 3 years? Who paid for your wife's birthday dinner last month? Who covered the down payment when you had that cash flow problem with the dealership 2 years ago? Silence. That would be me, Leo. The ridiculous one. The one who apparently isn't family enough to warrant a conversation before being replaced. Now listen here. No, you listen. I've been propping up your family's lifestyle for years, and the moment it becomes inconvenient to include me, I get discarded. Well, congratulations. You just found out what happens when you remove the foundation. I hang up. The afternoon passes quietly. I order a pizza, crack open a beer, and settle in to watch a baseball game. The Marlins are playing terribly, but there's something comforting about the predictable rhythm of the sport. Balls, strikes, innings that end, innings that begin. Rules that everyone understands and follows. Around 6 p.m., my doorbell rings. I look through the peephole and see Jude standing on my front porch, holding a six-pack of beer and wearing his usual concerned expression. "You look like hell," he says when I open the door. "Thanks, you always know just what to say." Jude follows me into the kitchen and sets the beer on the counter. He's been my best friend since college, a guy who owns a small bar in South Beach and has seen enough relationship drama to fill a library. He's also one of the few people who never bought into Fina's polished charm. "So," he says, opening a beer and handing it to me. "Want to tell me why your wife has been calling my bar asking if I know where you are?" "She called you?" "3 times. Sounded pretty frantic. Something about canceled hotel reservations and international incidents." I fill him in on the morning's events, from the airport ambush to the financial nuclear option. Jude listens without interrupting, occasionally shaking his head or muttering under his breath. "Man," he says when I finish. "That's cold, even for her family." The thing is, I don't think Fina sees it that way. In her mind, I'm the one being unreasonable. Because you didn't want to pay for your wife's romantic getaway with her ex? Because I'm not being supportive of her father's business networking? Jude snorts. Right, business networking. Is that what they're calling it now? We drink in comfortable silence for a while, watching the sun set through the kitchen window. The house feels less empty with Jude here, more like a place where normal people have normal conversations. "So, what's the plan?" Jude asks eventually. "Plan? Come on, Hayes. I've known you for 15 years. You don't do anything without a plan. You probably had blueprints drawn up before you froze those credit cards." He's not wrong. My mind has been working through the next steps all afternoon, calculating angles and stress points like I'm designing a building demolition. "I'm going to file for separation," I say, "tomorrow morning. About time. And I'm going to make sure everyone knows exactly why." Everyone? Everyone. Her friends, her family, her co-workers, her precious social media followers. If she wants to humiliate me publicly, I can play that game too. Jude raises his beer bottle in a mock toast. To structural engineering. To structural engineering. We clink bottles, and for the first time all day, I smile. I wake up Tuesday morning with the kind of clarity that comes after a sleepless night of planning. The house is quiet, except for the hum of the air conditioning and the distant sound of traffic on Coral Way. Fina's side of the bed is still made, untouched, a stark reminder of how quickly everything can change. My phone shows 47 missed calls from various international numbers and a voicemail box that's completely full. I delete all the voicemails without listening to them and head downstairs to make coffee. The first call I make is to Patricia Valdez, the divorce attorney that Jude recommended. Her office doesn't open until 9, but her answering service patches me through to her emergency line. "Mr. Rellin?" Her voice is crisp and professional, even at 7:30 in the morning. "Jude Morales said you might be calling. What can I do for you?" I explain the situation in broad strokes: the airport betrayal, the financial retaliation, the need to protect my assets before things get worse. "How long have you been married?" she asks. 8 years. "Any children?" "No." "Joint assets?" "The house, 2 cars, some investment accounts, but most of the major assets are in my name because I've been the primary earner." "Good. That simplifies things. How quickly do you want to move on this?" "Today, if possible. I can have preliminary separation papers drawn up by noon. We'll need to discuss strategy, but based on what you're telling me, we should be able to protect most of your assets, especially if we can demonstrate that your wife has been acting in bad faith." Define bad faith. Using marital funds to finance a vacation with another man while excluding you from said vacation would certainly qualify. I like Patricia already. We schedule a meeting for 10 a.m., and I spend the next hour gathering financial documents. Bank statements, credit card bills, investment account summaries, the mortgage paperwork, car titles. everything that defines the monetary skeleton of our marriage. As I'm printing out the hotel and restaurant receipts from yesterday's cancellations, my laptop chimes with a new email. It's from Fina, sent at 3:17 a.m. Barcelona time. Hayes, I don't know what's gotten into you, but this vindictive behavior needs to stop immediately. You've embarrassed my entire family and put us in an impossible situation. Max had to use his emergency credit line to cover the hotel costs, and Dad had to wire money just so we could eat dinner last night. This is not the man I married. The Hayes I know would never be so petty and cruel, especially to people who have always treated him like family. I'm willing to overlook this temporary insanity if you reinstate the credit cards and hotel reservations immediately. We can discuss your feelings about the trip when I get home, but right now you're acting like a child having a tantrum. Fix this, Hayes, before you do permanent damage to our marriage. Fina. I read it twice, marveling at the complete lack of self-awareness. In her version of events, I'm the villain for refusing to bankroll her vacation with another man. The mental gymnastics required to reach that conclusion would win Olympic medals. I compose a reply. Fina, you're absolutely right. This is not the man you married. The man you married was a pushover who would have quietly accepted being humiliated and replaced. Consider this my resignation from that position. As for your family treating me like family, I suppose that's technically true. They've treated me like the family member they wish would disappear. Enjoy the rest of your networking trip. Hayes P.S. You might want to call your credit card company about those emergency charges. I have a feeling Max's business credit isn't as solid as your father thinks. Send. The meeting with Patricia goes smoothly. She's a sharp woman in her 50s who specializes in high-asset divorces and has seen every variation of marital betrayal imaginable. Her office overlooks Biscayne Bay, and she serves excellent Cuban coffee while systematically dissecting my marriage like a forensic accountant. The good news, she says, reviewing my financial documents, is that you have a clear paper trail showing your contributions to the household and your wife's questionable spending patterns. The bad news is that Florida is a no-fault divorce state, which means her infidelity, if we can prove it, won't directly impact asset division. What about the vacation situation? That's more promising. We can argue marital waste, using joint funds for purposes that don't benefit the marriage. The fact that she excluded you from a vacation you paid for, specifically to include another man, demonstrates a clear breach of fiduciary duty. Fiduciary duty? In marriage, spouses owe each other a duty of loyalty and good faith in financial matters. Taking your money to fund a romantic getaway with her ex-boyfriend violates that duty in a pretty spectacular way. Patricia pulls out a legal pad and starts making notes. I'm going to file for temporary separation today, along with an emergency motion to freeze all joint accounts. We'll also request temporary exclusive use of the marital home and immediate disclosure of all her financial accounts. How long will that take? The paperwork can be filed today. She'll be served within 72 hours, probably while she's still in Spain. That should get her attention. What about her family? Can they come after me legally for the canceled reservations? Not unless they can prove you had a contractual obligation to pay for their vacation, which they can't. You're not married to her father, and you don't owe him anything. I sign a retainer agreement and write Patricia a check for $5,000. It feels like the best money I've spent in years. On the drive home, I stop at a FedEx store and make copies of everything: bank statements, credit card bills, the email exchanges with Fina and Leo, screenshots of the canceled reservations. I mail one set to Patricia's office and another to my work address, just in case. My phone rings as I'm pulling into my driveway. Unknown international number again. Hayes, this is Celeste. Fina's mother sounds tired and strained. Please, can we talk reasonably about this? Celeste has always been the peacekeeper in the family, the soft-spoken counterbalance to Leo's aggressive personality. She's never been anything but kind to me, which makes this conversation particularly difficult. Hello, Celeste. How are you enjoying Barcelona? Hayes, please, I know you're upset and I understand why, but we're stranded here with no money and nowhere to stay. Leo's pride won't let him admit it, but we need your help. Where's Max? I thought he was supposed to be networking. Max left. Yesterday morning. He said he had an emergency back home, but... She trails off. But what? But he took Fina's purse with him when he went to get coffee. She didn't realize it until he was already gone. Her passport, her credit cards, everything. I feel a cold satisfaction settle in my chest. So let me understand this. The golden boy that Leo preferred over me has now stolen from your daughter and abandoned you all in a foreign country. It's not that simple. It sounds pretty simple to me, Celeste. Your husband replaced me with a con artist, and now you're dealing with the consequences. Hayes, please. Whatever issues you and Fina are dealing with, don't take them out on the rest of us. Leo's hypertension medication is running low, and we can't afford to replace it without access to our accounts. Why can't you access your accounts? Leo's cards are all connected to the business, and there's some kind of hold on the accounts, something about irregular international activity. I almost laugh. Leo's business has been struggling for months. I know because I've been helping cover some of Fina's expenses when her parents couldn't. The irregular international activity is probably just his bank's automated fraud protection kicking in when they detected unusual spending patterns in Spain. Celeste, I'm sorry you're in this situation. I really am, but I'm not your family's personal ATM anymore. What do you want us to do? I want you to call the American embassy. I want you to contact your bank and explain the situation. I want you to file a police report about Max stealing Fina's purse. I want you to handle this like adults instead of expecting me to bail you out. And if we can't, then I guess you'll figure it out. People do, you know. Figure things out without my credit cards. I hang up feeling like the worst person in the world and the most liberated person in the world simultaneously. The afternoon brings a steady stream of calls from numbers I don't recognize. I let them all go to voicemail and focus on more pressing matters, like changing the locks on the house. The locksmith is a chatty guy named Roberto who's seen enough domestic drama to fill a soap opera. He doesn't ask questions when I explain that I need to secure the house while my wife is traveling, just nods knowingly and gets to work. You want me to do the garage too? He asks. Everything. Front door, back door, garage, even the side gate. Smart man. You'd be surprised how many people forget about the side gate. While Roberto works, I start phase 3 of my plan. Social media reconnaissance. Fina's Instagram account is set to public because of her PR work, and it tells an interesting story. 3 days ago, she posted a photo of herself at Miami International Airport with the caption, "Barcelona bound. Can't wait for some family time and European adventures. Blessed life. Family first. Barcelona 2024. The comments are typical social media fluff. Friends wishing her a great trip, colleagues making jokes about bringing back Spanish wine, her sister Rebecca posting heart emojis. But there are no photos from Barcelona. No pictures of Spanish architecture or family dinners or tourist attractions. Her last post was the airport selfie, and her Instagram stories are empty. I check Max's profile next. His account is private, but his profile picture shows him standing next to his Porsche in what looks like a Miami parking garage. The timestamp shows it was updated yesterday, while he was supposedly in Barcelona dealing with a family emergency. Interesting. I create a new Instagram account using a fake name and request to follow Max. While I wait for him to approve it, I scroll through Fina's Facebook page. Her relationship status still says, married to Hayes Rellin, which would be touching if it weren't so ironic. Her last public post was a week ago, a shared article about building strong business networks through personal relationships. The comments include several from Max, all variations of great insights and looking forward to discussing this more. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Hayes, this is Rebecca. Mom told me what happened. Can you please just help them get home? Whatever's going on between you and Fina, don't punish the whole family. Rebecca is Fina's younger sister, a kindergarten teacher who's always been neutral in family politics. The fact that she's reaching out suggests things in Barcelona are worse than I thought. I text back, Rebecca, I'm sorry your family is in this situation, but I'm not responsible for fixing problems I didn't create. What problems? All I know is that you canceled their hotel and now they're sleeping in the airport. Did anyone tell you why I canceled the hotel? Mom said you were upset about the seating arrangements on the plane. Seating arrangements. That's how they're describing it. I screenshot Fina's original email about Max replacing me and send it to Rebecca, along with the payment history showing how much I'd spent on the trip. These are the seating arrangements your sister was referring to. My phone goes quiet for 20 minutes. Then Rebecca calls. Hayes? Oh my God, I had no idea. Fina told everyone that you decided not to come because you were too busy with work. That's not exactly how it happened. I can't believe she would do this. And Dad, how could he think this was okay? You'd have to ask them. Where's Max now? Mom said he left, but she made it sound like a business emergency. According to your mother, he stole Fina's purse and disappeared. He what? Took her purse, passport, credit cards, everything. Vanished yesterday morning. Oh no. Oh Hayes, this is so much worse than I thought. Rebecca starts crying, and I feel another pang of guilt. She's the one member of Fina's family who's never treated me like an outsider, and now she's caught in the middle of this mess. Rebecca, listen to me. I'm not trying to hurt your parents or leave them stranded, but I can't keep enabling this behavior. I know, I understand. It's just, what am I supposed to do? I can't afford to wire them money for hotels and flights. You're not supposed to do anything. This isn't your responsibility. But they're my family. And Fina is my wife, or was. But that doesn't mean I have to pay for her to cheat on me. She's cheating? What would you call going on a romantic vacation with an ex-boyfriend? Rebecca goes quiet for a long moment. I need to call Mom back. I need to think about this. Take your time. After she hangs up, I pour myself a scotch and sit on the back patio, watching the sun set over my neighbor's fence. The house feels different with the new locks, more secure, more mine. For the first time in months, I'm not waiting for Fina to come home from work, or wondering what mood she'll be in, or calculating how much her latest family obligation is going to cost me. It's peaceful. My laptop chimes with another email, this one from Leo. Hayes, I've contacted my attorney about your actions. What you've done constitutes abandonment and possibly extortion. When we return to Miami, we'll be pursuing legal action for the damages you've caused. You've made a serious enemy today. Leo Costas. I forward the email to Patricia with a note. Exhibit A, threats from father-in-law. Then I pour another scotch and start planning Phase 4. Wednesday morning arrives with the kind of crisp clarity that Miami gets in early autumn. Blue skies, low humidity, and a breeze that actually provides relief instead of just moving hot air around. I wake up naturally for the first time in months. No alarm clock, no Fina rushing around the bedroom getting ready for work, no sense of impending domestic drama. I make coffee and check my phone. 17 missed calls overnight, all from international numbers. The voicemail box is full again. I clear it without listening, and notice that Max has accepted my fake Instagram follow request. His profile is a masterclass in manufactured success. Photos of expensive dinners, luxury hotel lobbies, business meetings, and glass-walled conference rooms. But when I look closer, the details don't add up. The business meeting photos show the same conference room from different angles, suggesting they were all taken during a single visit. The restaurant photos are from mid-tier chain establishments, not the high-end venues his captions suggest. And most tellingly, his recent posts are all geotagged in Miami, including one from yesterday afternoon showing him at a Starbucks in Brickell. So much for his family emergency in Barcelona. I screenshot everything and add it to my growing evidence file. My doorbell rings at 9 a.m. sharp. Through the peephole, I see a young woman in a business suit holding an official-looking envelope. "Hayes Rellin?" she asks when I open the door. "That's me. I have a delivery for you from the law offices of Patricia Valdez." She hands me the envelope and asks me to sign for it. Inside are copies of the separation papers that Patricia filed yesterday, along with a note. "Fina will be served within 24 hours. The temporary asset freeze goes into effect immediately. Call me if you need anything. PV." I'm officially separated. The relief is immediate and overwhelming. For 8 years, I've been trying to fix a marriage that was fundamentally broken, trying to earn the approval of people who would never give it, trying to be enough for someone who would always want more. Now, finally, I can stop trying. My phone rings. It's Jude. "How's the newly single life treating you?" he asks. "I'm separated, not single. There's still paperwork to do." "Details. You want to grab lunch? I'm thinking somewhere with terrible food and strong drinks." "Can't. I have an appointment with a private investigator at 11. "A PI? "Hayes, what are you planning?" "Insurance. If this thing gets ugly in court, I want to have all the facts." "And if it doesn't get ugly?" "Then I'll have peace of mind." The private investigator's office is in a strip mall in Hialeah, sandwiched between a nail salon and a tax preparation service. Maria Santos is a former Miami-Dade detective who specializes in matrimonial investigations, and her no-nonsense attitude reminds me of Patricia. "So, you want me to investigate your wife and her boyfriend?" she says, reviewing the notes I've provided. "Ex-boyfriend, allegedly." "Right. What specifically are you looking for?" "I want to know how long this has been going on. I want to know if there are financial irregularities. I want to know if Max Dalton is who he claims to be." "And your budget?" "Whatever it takes." Maria nods and pulls out a contract. "I'll need a retainer of $3,000. My daily rate is 400 plus expenses. Most matrimonial investigations take between 5 and 10 days, depending on what we find." I write her a check, feeling like I'm investing in my own sanity. "One question," she says as I'm signing the contract. "How far do you want me to dig? Sometimes people find out things they wish they hadn't." "All the way. I'd rather know the truth and hate it than live with comfortable lies." "Fair enough. I'll have a preliminary report for you by Friday." On the drive home, I stop at a print shop and have them create a large banner with a simple message. "For sale by owner, motivated seller, call Hayes." I hang it in the front yard, right where Fina will see it when she gets home. If she gets home. My phone buzzes with a text from Rebecca. "Hayes, I talked to Mom. They're at the embassy now trying to get emergency travel documents. Max cleaned out Fina's bank account before he left." I call her back immediately. "How much did he take?" I ask. "About $4,000. Everything she had in her personal checking account." "What about her credit cards?" "He used those too, apparently. Bought himself a first-class ticket back to Miami and charged about $2,000 worth of stuff at the duty-free shop." "Has anyone filed a police report?" "They tried, but the Spanish police said it's a civil matter since Fina gave him access to her purse voluntarily. They won't treat it as theft." I feel a mixture of satisfaction and genuine sympathy. Satisfaction because Leo's golden boy has turned out to be exactly what I thought he was. Sympathy because, despite everything, I don't actually want to see Fina's family suffer. "Rebecca, I'm going to ask you something, and I want you to think carefully before you answer." "Okay. Did Fina know about Max's financial problems before this trip?" "What do you mean?" "I mean, did she know his business was failing? Did she know he was desperate for money? Did she know she was basically being used as a mark?" Rebecca is quiet for a long moment. "I don't know, but there were some conversations. about Dad maybe investing in Max's company, about Max needing bridge financing for some big deal. Bridge financing. That's what he called it. He said he had this huge contract coming through, but he needed cash to cover expenses until it closed. And your father was considering investing? He was more than considering. He was excited about it. He kept talking about how Max had vision and connections, and how this could be the start of a whole new business relationship. The pieces click into place. This wasn't just about Fina wanting to reconnect with an old flame. This was a con game, with Leo as the primary target and Fina as the unwitting accomplice. Max needed access to Leo's money, and the family vacation was the perfect opportunity to pitch his investment scheme in a relaxed, social setting. Rebecca, I need you to do something for me. What? I need you to warn your father not to invest any money with Max, not a penny. Tell him to run a background check, verify the business, check references. Don't let him make any financial decisions until he's back in Miami and thinking clearly. You think Max is running some kind of scam? I think Max is a desperate man with expensive tastes and no legitimate income. That makes him dangerous. But why would you help Dad after everything that's happened? Because despite everything, I don't want to see your family lose their life savings to a con artist. And because when this all comes out in court, I want the record to show that I tried to protect them, not hurt them. After I hang up with Rebecca, I call Maria Santos and give her the new information about Max's financial crimes and investment scheme. She promises to prioritize the background check on his business. The afternoon passes quietly. I work on some inspection reports, order Chinese takeout, and start researching real estate agents. The house will have to be sold as part of the divorce settlement, but I want to control the process rather than leave it to lawyers. Around 6 p.m., my doorbell rings again. This time, it's my neighbor, Mrs. Patterson, a retired teacher who's lived next door for 20 years. Hayes, dear, I saw the for sale sign. Are you and Fina moving? Just me, Mrs. Patterson. We're getting divorced. Oh my, I'm so sorry to hear that. You seemed like such a nice couple. Seemed being the operative phrase. Is there anything I can do? I know how difficult these transitions can be. Mrs. Patterson is one of those genuinely kind people who restores your faith in humanity. She's brought us soup when we were sick, watered our plants when we traveled, and never once complained about Fina's loud phone conversations on the back patio. Actually, there is something, I say. When Fina gets back from her trip, she might try to cause some drama. If you see or hear anything concerning, would you mind calling me? Of course. Do you think she'll be difficult? I think she'll be surprised and angry, and people sometimes make poor decisions when they're angry. Mrs. Patterson nods knowingly. I'll keep an eye out. That evening, I get a call from Patricia. Good news and bad news, she says. The good news is that Fina has been served. The process server found her at the American Embassy in Barcelona this afternoon. How did she take it? According to the server, she screamed at him in 3 languages and tried to tear up the papers. Very professional. And the bad news? She's hired a lawyer. Richard Blackwood from Blackwood, Sterling and Associates. I recognize the name. Blackwood handles high-profile divorces for celebrities and politicians. He's expensive, aggressive, and very good at what he does. How expensive are we talking? I ask. Retainer starts at $50,000. If she can afford him, this is going to be a war. She can't afford him. Her parents can't afford him. So where's the money coming from? That's a very good question. I'll have my investigator look into it. I've already hired my own PI, Maria Santos. Good choice. Maria's thorough. Between her work and mine, we should be able to figure out where Blackwood's retainer is coming from. After I hang up with Patricia, I pour myself a scotch and sit on the back patio, watching the stars appear over Miami. The night is quiet except for the distant hum of traffic and the occasional airplane passing overhead. My phone buzzes with an email notification. It's from Fina, sent from an address I don't recognize. Hayes, I received your papers today. I can't believe you would ambush me like this while I'm stranded in a foreign country dealing with a crisis. This is a new low, even for you. You think you're so clever, freezing the accounts and canceling everything like some kind of financial terrorist. But you've made a serious miscalculation. I'm not the helpless victim you seem to think I am. I have resources you don't know about. I have support you can't imagine. And I have information about your little revenge scheme that could cause you serious problems. This isn't over, Hayes, not by a long shot. When I get home, we're going to have a very different conversation than the one you're expecting. Fina P.S. You might want to reconsider that for sale sign. You're going to need somewhere to live when I'm done with you. I read the email twice, noting the threatening tone and the references to resources and information that she hasn't specified. It sounds like bluster, but something about the confidence in her voice makes me uneasy. I forward the email to Patricia with a note. Exhibit B, threats from soon-to-be ex-wife. Then I double-check the new locks on all the doors and make sure the security system is armed. Something tells me the real war is just beginning. Thursday morning brings the kind of weather that makes Miami real estate agents rich. Perfect blue skies, gentle breeze, temperature in the low 70s. It's the kind of day that should make you grateful to be alive, but I wake up with a knot in my stomach that has nothing to do with the Chinese food I ate last night. Fina is coming home today. I know this because Rebecca texted me at midnight. Emergency travel documents approved. Flying out of Barcelona at 6 a.m. their time. Should be in Miami around 3 p.m. I also know this because Maria Santos called me at 7 a.m. with her preliminary report on Max Dalton. Your instincts were right, she says without preamble. Max Dalton is running multiple financial scams. His tech company is a shell corporation with no actual business operations. He's been living off credit cards and investor money for the past 2 years. What kind of investor money? Small-time stuff mostly. Friends, family members, people he meets through social media. He promises huge returns on cryptocurrency investments or tech startups, takes their money and uses it to maintain his lifestyle while stringing them along with fake progress reports. How much money are we talking about? Best estimate? He's taken about $200,000 from various marks over the past 18 months. And here's the interesting part. One of his biggest investors is a car dealership owner in Miami. Leo Costas. Bingo. Your father-in-law has been sending Max regular payments for the past 6 months, thinking he's investing in some kind of revolutionary app development. How much has Leo invested? $47,000 so far, with promises of more to come. I sit down heavily in my kitchen chair. Leo may be an arrogant piece of work, but $47,000 is serious money, even for someone in his business. There's more, Maria continues. I found evidence that Max has been planning this Barcelona trip for weeks. He booked his own flight back to Miami before he even left, and he opened a new bank account specifically to deposit the money he stole from your wife. So this whole thing was premeditated. Absolutely. He used your wife to get close to her father, used the family vacation as an opportunity to pitch a bigger investment, and when that fell through because of your financial intervention, he grabbed what he could and ran. What about Fina? How much did she know? That's harder to determine. I found some text messages between them going back about 2 months, but they're mostly about the trip logistics and her father's business. Nothing explicitly romantic, but definitely more intimate than you'd expect from old friends. Intimate how? Lots of inside jokes, references to shared memories, complaints about their current relationships. The kind of emotional affair that usually leads to a physical one. I thank Maria and ask her to compile everything into a formal report. Then I call Patricia and fill her in on the Max situation. This actually helps us, she says. If we can prove that Fina was complicit in a scheme to defraud her own father, it demonstrates a pattern of deception and financial irresponsibility. That could be very useful in asset division. What if she wasn't complicit? What if she was just naive? Then she's guilty of extremely poor judgment, which is almost as bad from a legal standpoint. Either way, it supports our argument that she can't be trusted with joint financial decisions. I spend the morning preparing for Fina's return like I'm fortifying for a siege. I install a security camera at the front door, move all of my important documents to a safe deposit box at the bank, and change the password on every online account we've ever shared. At noon, Jude calls to check in. "You ready for this?" he asks. "As ready as I can be." "You want backup? I can close the bar early and come sit on your couch with a baseball bat." "Thanks, but I think that might send the wrong message to the divorce court." "Fair point. But call me if things get weird. I'll be there in 20 minutes. At 2:30 p.m., I position myself in the living room with a clear view of the driveway and wait. My phone is fully charged, the security cameras are recording, and I have Patricia's number on speed dial. At 3:47 p.m., a taxi pulls into the driveway. Fina gets out of the back seat, looking like she's been through a natural disaster. Her usually perfect hair is pulled back in a messy ponytail. Her designer clothes are wrinkled and stained, and she's carrying what appears to be a plastic duty-free shopping bag instead of her usual leather purse. She pays the taxi driver and walks slowly toward the front door, moving like someone who's been traveling for 20 hours and hasn't slept in 3 days. For a moment, I almost feel sorry for her. Then she tries her key in the lock and realizes it doesn't work. She tries again, jiggling the key and pushing against the door. When it still doesn't open, she steps back and stares at the lock like it's personally offended her. Then she starts pounding on the door. "Hayes, open this door right now! Hayes!" I wait 30 seconds, then open the door. She's standing on the porch with her fist raised, ready to pound again. "Hello, Fina. How was Barcelona?" She pushes past me into the house, dragging her suitcase behind her. Don't you dare stand there and act casual after what you did to us." "What I did? That's interesting. What exactly did I do?" "You know exactly what you did. You sabotaged our entire trip. You left us stranded in a foreign country with no money and no way to get home." "I left you stranded? I wasn't even supposed to be there, remember? Your father made that very clear." Fina drops her suitcase in the middle of the living room and spins around to face me. Up close, she looks even worse. Dark circles under her eyes, stress lines around her mouth, a general air of someone who's been through hell. "This is all your fault," she says. "Max told us you would try to sabotage the trip. He warned us you were jealous and vindictive." "Max told you that, did he? When exactly did this conversation take place?" "Before we left. He said you'd probably try to cause problems because you couldn't handle him being successful." "Successful." I laugh, and it comes out harsher than I intended. "Fina, your successful ex-boyfriend stole your purse and cleaned out your bank account. He's a con artist who's been scamming your father for months." "That's not true." "It's completely true. I have documentation. Bank records, police reports, everything." "You're lying." I walk over to my laptop and pull up Maria's preliminary report. Max Dalton, age 38, owner of Dalton Digital Solutions, which exists only on paper. No employees, no office, no actual business operations. He's been living off investor money and credit card fraud for 2 years. Fina stares at the screen, her face going pale as she reads. "This is fake," she says finally. "You made this up." "I didn't make up the $47,000 he's stolen from your father. I didn't make up the $200,000 he's taken from other investors. And I definitely didn't make up the $4,000 he stole from your bank account. He didn't steal from me. He borrowed that money for an emergency." "What emergency? His flight home was already booked. His hotel was already paid for. What emergency required him to clean out your account and disappear?" Fina sits down heavily on the couch, still staring at the laptop screen. "He said his business partner had a crisis. He said he needed cash to cover payroll until he could access his business accounts." "Fina, he doesn't have a business partner. He doesn't have employees. He doesn't have business accounts. He has credit card debt and a very expensive lifestyle that he funds by stealing from people who trust him. But the app, he showed us the prototype. What app? The restaurant reservation app. He demonstrated it at dinner the first night. It was amazing. It could get you tables at any restaurant in Barcelona, even the exclusive ones. I stare at her. Fina, that's not an app. That's called having a concierge service or knowing people in the restaurant industry. Anyone can make dinner reservations if they're willing to pay the right fees or know the right people. But it was on his phone. Probably just a mock-up interface. Or maybe he was just using OpenTable and pretending it was his proprietary technology. Fina puts her head in her hands. Oh God, Dad is going to be so angry. Your dad should be angry, but not at you. At himself for not doing basic due diligence before investing $50,000 with a con artist. It wasn't $50,000. It was... She stops abruptly. It was what, Fina? Nothing. I don't know the exact amount. But her hesitation tells me everything I need to know. Leo has invested even more than Maria discovered, and Fina knows exactly how much. How long have you been in contact with Max? I ask. We reconnected about 3 months ago. He reached out on Facebook, said he was back in Miami and wanted to catch up. And you didn't think to mention this to your husband? It was innocent. We were just talking about old times, about what we'd been doing with our lives. It wasn't romantic. But it became romantic. No, it never became romantic. We were just friends. Friends who go on family vacations together while excluding the friend's husband. Fina looks up at me with red-rimmed eyes. That wasn't my idea. Dad invited him. I didn't object. Because you wanted him there. Because I thought it would be nice to catch up properly, in a relaxed setting, without all the pressure of Miami social stuff. Without your husband around to interfere. Hayes, I never cheated on you. Not physically. Max and I never... We didn't... But you wanted to. She doesn't answer, which is answer enough. I sit down in the chair across from her, suddenly feeling exhausted. Fina, I've filed for separation. I know, I got the papers. Good. Then you know that our joint accounts are frozen and you can't access any of our shared assets without court approval. Hayes, please, can't we work this out? Can't we go to counseling or something? You want to work this out? After you tried to replace me with your ex-boyfriend on a vacation I paid for? It wasn't like that. Then what was it like? Explain it to me. Make me understand how any of this was okay. Fina wipes her eyes with the back of her hand. Dad never liked you. You know that. He's always thought I could do better. And when Max came back into the picture, Dad saw an opportunity. An opportunity for what? To show me what I was missing. To remind me of what my life could have been like if I'd made different choices. So this was an intervention? Your father was trying to break up our marriage? Not break up, just make me think. About whether I was really happy. About whether we were really right for each other. And what did you conclude? I don't know. I'm confused, Hayes. I've been confused for months. Max is everything you're not. Exciting, ambitious, successful. He's not successful, Fina. He's a criminal. But I didn't know that then. All I knew was that he made me feel alive again, like anything was possible. And I make you feel what? Safe, comfortable, predictable. Those are bad things? They're not bad things, but they're not exciting things either. I stand up and walk to the window, looking out at the for sale sign in our front yard. So, you're saying our marriage failed because I was too stable? I'm saying our marriage failed because we want different things. You want security and routine. I want adventure and possibility. I see. And what do you want now? I want to fix this. I want us to try again, but differently. I want us to be more spontaneous, more exciting. Like taking vacations with your ex-boyfriends? That's not what I meant. I turn back to face her. Fina, I don't think you understand what's happening here. This isn't a rough patch in our marriage that we can fix with counseling and date nights. This is the end. It doesn't have to be. Yes, it does. Because I can't trust you anymore. And without trust, we don't have a marriage. We just have a legal arrangement. Hayes, please. No, Fina, I'm done. I'm done being the safe choice. I'm done being the backup plan. I'm done paying for a life that you don't even want. She starts crying again, but this time it feels performative rather than genuine. What am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to go? That's not my problem anymore. You're a smart